Call the meeting to order. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Been good? Roll call, please.
Alrighty. Roll call. Bailey here. Brylant here. Mr. Dupuy here. Mr. Levady. Mr. Mahaffey here. Mr. Montgomery here. Mr. Richards. Mr. Smith. And Mr. Swartz here. Did I guess anybody? Nope. Okay, we got a forum.
Forum.
Do we have any correspondence? That's one. Now, we had. Yeah. You got a tons of focus in the one with that. I don't know. I got have you seen this map out? All that was is talked to Montgomery on the phone, and you know, we had to discuss what a piece of property was zoned, particularly Mr. Cuplin's property there.
Yeah.
And he agreed that the colors were too hard to tell. So he redid that part as a sample for us and that. And then we wanted to have him do the whole thing. He's got a guy that'll come in and take and do the full size one. That's just down on Lakeport, because that's the one that involved the Cuplin's property there.
It's the same.
So
Caroline had the view from that.
she told me that she did, and I did, and I haven't been there to see him.
I haven't either.
So. Good morning, Mr. Smith. One of the correspondence, October, was from the Township of Worth. I think they're redoing their master plan.
Yeah, they're, I think it's done.
Yeah.
They're phone call.
No, you can just mention it, just that it was,
Township of Worth. To Birch Township. They just need to notify us because we're a neighboring
Right.
township.
right. That's what they were doing. He's got Mr. Smith. Short arm?
Oops, sorry about that.
Thank you.
Really not sending
Yeah.
it. We don't act on it.
Nope. In fact, I think they're done.
We're townships just notifying us that they're preparing to update their master plan.
So, if we had any comments or anything, to notify them.
Any comments?
To it work.
Hearing none,
a
seeing
copy.
none?
They have a copy of our master plan, do you know? And you guys?
I don't know if they have a copy of our master plan. Yeah.
Yeah, we're,
I don't think we have a copy of theirs either.
yeah. I just say,
We might, I might have a copy of theirs. I had a couple of them.
I'm just saying that sometimes where the counties, or I mean, the townships abut, you know,
Mhm.
we may say have a district, I don't, you know, I'm not saying we do, but we might have a district that's commercial, and it's abutting
Oh.
something, they might like to know that.
Right. Right, you're right.
And vice versa.
You're
That's a good
Russ.
concept. Did we do that when we?
Yes, we did.
I think we did with Fort Gratiot.
We do it all the time.
Did we? Good.
Okay.
Good job.
On the original master plan.
There is one other correspondence. Who was that? A guy called me. I guess his name was Dave DeGeorge. He's on, he owns property on General Road 4391. Got 8.5 acres there, it's got a pole barn on it. It's zoned agricultural. He lives down by Farmington Hills. Anyway, he's got a friend who has a B-used car license, and he wanted to know if he could have it applied to that property on General Road. I told him, I don't know how. I said, we can lease the land to him or what? And he said, well, we could even put it in both our names or whatever. I says, he said, well, we wouldn't sell any cars or anything there or anything. He said, we wouldn't have anything there. We just need a place just to have it on the property. I said, why would you want a license on a piece of property then that you're not even gonna sell cars from?
He's been selling cars there for a year.
Yeah?
Where's that?
He's down by State Road, right?
It's by the old schoolhouse now.
Is it at the old schoolhouse or past it?
It's a place to the west. Big General Road there. Yep, on General Road. In fact, there's a car there. There was 2 different cars there in the last 3 days.
That was Bill
for sale. Sitting out there for sale.
Yeah, that was Bill Sheeman's farm.
Yeah.
Is it still his farm?
I don't know who owns it, but there's cars out there for sale all the time, different cars.
Oh, I don't know, that's Bill Sheeman's farm. It was.
Yeah.
He said that the pole barn was 4,200 square feet.
Yep.
So that he bought it from a lawyer who had it as
Yep, that's what it is.
He bought it from Bill. Bill built it for his kids to play baseball.
Little league,
or
yeah.
ride in there in the winter.
practice. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
It's a big barn.
Yeah, kids grow up.
There's, I think there's a Cadillac there last week, and there was a Oldsmobile sitting out there. White-
Dark one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said there wouldn't be any vehicles there. He said, because I asked him, I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. And he said, well, what it is, he says, is my friend, like he says, if Northgate Ford takes in a few Chryslers on trade-ins and that, he said, my friend takes and buys those and then sells them to a Chrysler dealership. And he
I
said,
figured it was somebody out of town because the county bought a car out of there. And it was licensed, it actually come out of Detroit. The car comes from Detroit.
see, well, anyway, I told him I would bring it up at the meeting and that if anybody thought there was a way that he could do something like that, that I would get back with him in that, but according to our ordinance and that, he has to be, general business, he has to be on a major thoroughfare, and I said,
Well, General Road is a major thoroughfare.
it is considered major thoroughfare down there?
It's county. It's county primary.
Anyway,
Is that permitted use in agriculture?
Why didn't you just tell him to talk to Rod?
tell him to talk to who? He did, he talked to him first.
Oh, Rod didn't have an answer?
Rod said that if there was a house on there, he'd probably be okay. But because it's just a pole barn, it's not, which I didn't understand that part either,
That
but.
doesn't make sense either.
Well-
The other way around.
That's because you can't have a barn you can't build a barn on a vacant piece of land anymore.
I did tell him that. I told him that, that we had a problem with that, and we don't let him do that anymore. Right.
Well, I don't know, we have a problem with it, it's just the way the majority figured that's what it should be, but.
I don't know, you got a problem with that pole barn now? I mean, that shouldn't.
The only problem he's got is not in his yard.
Yeah, yeah. They won't sell it cheap, honest here.
He's got one on his road too.
Yeah, that's what I was just going
I
with.
think we all have one.
Yeah.
Here in the country.
They just put them in the wrong spot.
But anyway, so I brought it up, and anybody's got any comments on thinking that they should be able to do it or something? Why?
I don't know if he can do a special land use for it, or,
I told him at minimum it would take special land use, but
public hearing, or.
he
I
said
don't understand why he wants a license, but he's not gonna open a business.
right. I said, doesn't that? I
That
said,
doesn't make us.
that's what I told him. I said, I don't quite understand. I said, you're not even in the same
State,
county. It's not even in the same county that he's working on it.
they need an address.
It's the state.
For the
Exactly.
state.
That's what he said. Was the
So,
state changed?
If you sell more than so many used cars,
Yes.
that's when you need the license.
Yes,
Gotcha.
and you need to have proof from the municipality that you can do that there. That's,
And then the state has to come out and inspect it. That's what he told me.
okay, yeah, they probably do. I don't know what they do, but I do know you have to.
Yeah. He said it was just a thought that he had. I said, well. So anyway. If anybody's,
Yeah, I mean, he can, there's stuff he can go, proper channels he can go through, and ask for, public hearing.
yeah, he can go through all that, but he doesn't want to spend all the money, he said, and then be told no.
Yeah, well, that's the risk.
Then that's when you know.
Right.
He's only got to have 5 yeses.
Okay, and that's all the correspondence I got. He just called me yesterday. So. And I told him that we were having a meeting today, if he wants to come and attend it.
If he wants to spend the money. Other than that, I don't know. We can't just say, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I told him he could come to tonight's meeting, it wouldn't cost him anything. Yeah.
But we'd say the same thing, though, if he's serious about it, he'd go through the proper channels, if not. Any more correspondence?
Nope.
Now to the approval of July 15th.
I'm going to approve those minutes.
Oh, all right.
That's quick. I hear a second?
Second.
Who was that, Mr. Smith? Okay. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say whatever. Nay?
Say nothing?
Say nothing.
I don't do that.
Hearing nothing, nothings. Minutes approved.
Okay.
Any citizens' comments? That's your part.
I just came because it's warm in here.
Okay, he's probably right with Robert.
Yeah, right. He did. And Matt.
You got free rides.
I could catch a ride home.
You probably got free
Stop on
tacos.
the way home.
Yeah.
Probably get a coffee out of you.
I can't find anything about a cabin, a resort. On
this agenda, you mean?
A little, no, in the codification book. I don't have the new one, but on the old one. I can't find a description for, when we've got several different places.
Okay,
Bed and
which book are you
breakfasts
referring to? Because the codification book
The-
isn't in effect yet.
Okay.
So we're
So
still under.
the only reason that I'm bringing it up is because I'd like to know if it's in the new one, or if it's going to be in the new one, because I can't find anything in the old one that designates what a campground is, what a, what cabins are. I had a whole list of them when it's in the car. But we've
not
got
that cold.
we've got several of those types of units around, and they seem to be marked differently.
For example,
So, what?
It's,
A6, definition 30, campground. Means any parcel of land wherein sites are offered for the use of the public or members of any organization either free of charge or for a fee for the establishment of temporary living quarters for the occupation of 5 or more tents, travel trailers, trucks, campers, or other similar recreational units.
Okay.
What else would I know? Cabins, you said, right?
Cabins.
I'm not sure about specifically. It's actually an A6.
I don't know if
Definition 30. Most of that stuff in the definition. There's not a definition for cabin here.
I don't see where we would need a definition.
Yeah, it's a dwelling of some sort.
It's just a dwelling, yeah.
It's a dwelling. Okay. So it would fit under a single home dwelling, correct?
It would be on all the same.
No, it could be under apartment house because there could be multiple cabins.
Okay, but it would,
Yeah, but it would
it would
be-
still fall under a dwelling first, and then it would go.
That's
Yeah.
what I don't get, is that if you've got a set of cabins and you're calling them like an efficiency apartment, Aren't apartments attached? Or are apartments allowed to be little single units?
Okay, I think anything that right now that's an apartment or a cabin is pre-existing to these ordinances and would fall in the grandfather clause. I don't think we've had any cabins or anything like that come about. Don't
Well,
know,
we
it'd be
have-
closer to be on Lakeshore Road where they burned, you know, and
Yeah.
he had decided to rebuild, that would be the first one.
We have the redoing of one on, next to Churchman's. And then we have the blue buildings that may eventually be sold. And in order for them to be put into use, there needs to be some rules and regulations.
Which-
And those
what's
are
the
the
blue
things that I
buildings?
can't
What's
find
the blue
on
building?
Lake Shore, next to the one, next to Lake Shore Park, across the road.
Oh, beside the old party store up there.
Beside, yeah, beside
Years,
that.
By Hellman's?
Them blue ones.
They're all blue.
Next
There are
to
4 or
Diners.
5 of them.
Huh?
Yeah, it's up on Old Lake Store.
Old Lakeshore.
Oh,
Lake
the
Shore.
old
Yeah,
Demick's
I'm sorry.
cabin.
Yeah, I know what you
I
mean
can't
now.
remember their names.
Yeah.
Richard's cabin's Demick's cabin.
Richard, yeah.
It was last Demick's, that's,
So those would go down as single unit dwellings?
no. I think it would be under definition 52, which is dwelling multiple family, a building or portion thereof containing 3 or more dwelling units designed exclusively for occupancy by 3 or more families, living independently of each other, conforming to all.
That would cover it.
I think that's,
That would cover
I mean, it
it.
says 3, but I think.
It says 3 or
55.
more.
Yeah,
3 or more?
Yeah, 3 or more.
Okay.
that's 52, that's A8
Okay.
in the definitions. I don't know if that helps you or not.
Okay.
Most of the stuff's in the definitions.
I'll look
I mean,
again.
Okay.
And also, there is a, I can't point out where exactly, but there's a clause in here that allows for that stuff to be redone. And
If it was by fire or some disaster?
no
No?
matter,
Mm-hmm.
no matter. It can
If it's
be-
been sold though? and
Yeah.
repurchased?
Yeah, I mean, you
Doesn't
go,
matter if it's sold or not, it's still,
somebody bought it with the intent of doing that. I mean, it was there. You know, you can't say you can't do.
The same
do
use.
For the same use, right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, usage, yeah.
Yeah,
just because it's been sold doesn't mean you're asking the township to do anything new with it.
No.
It's they've already approved it once upon a time, or grandfathered in once upon a time. Just because the transfers owners does not mean that it has to do anything different.
Oh, okay. So when the blue ones sell, same thing falls true with them?
it should. I mean,
A special land use runs with the property.
well, not up there. I don't think it's special land use. I mean, that was all.
I don't know what that is. I mean, I don't
Well-
know how they did that originally.
Well, back in the 50s, there was a whole lot more cabins up along through there, you
Mhm.
know. At least that's what they say. so.
It's got one permit house on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than you go down to Harris Road there, the cabins there, going down to the beach.
Mhm.
Cozy?
Cozy cabins.
Cozy
yeah.
cabins,
You know,
yeah.
you know, they fix them all up, you know, I mean.
And
they
they
bought
still
it.
rent them out.
Yeah, people love that. I mean, people love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For the 3
No,
months, but.
they're generally.
And the blue cabins there, I mean, those were full all the time, so.
And we had, when we bought the Sally Barzone's property there was 7.
Yeah.
There were the 2 cabins, the 3 trailers, and then we had those 2 little bungalows that were just a little
Yeah.
kind of 2-room, we call them bungalows because they were very small,
I remember that.
but
And then next to the south of that, can't think of their name, the people, they bought the old, there was a
Mhm.
whole bunch of cabins there.
yeah.
They tore a bunch down and built one house there, but, you know, that's up to them if that's what they wanna do, but, you know.
Right.
But when Larry bought that property back in the 80s, you know, from Barzones, if he wanted to just fix them cabins up.
And we did, we rented them out for years to make our main contract payment on that place, but,
As they built.
Yeah.
Well, you still have the cabins right there along by the park too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's by Harris Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Cozy cabins, yeah.
Cozy cabins.
But part of the answer would be in the ordinances, there really isn't a definition for cabin.
Well, it would just fall under dwelling multiple families, I think,
Multiple family dwelling.
Mhm.
which is 52 definition.
Anything else on that?
And the master plan, by the way, is on the internet out there somewhere. I don't know who does it.
Worth's and ours too.
Ours is, I don't know if Worth's is, I don't know if, but it's out there.
I think Worth is going to, I just read something in the Sandusky paper about the Worth Township one, I don't remember what I read now.
I don't know if you have to, or the company that did it
No.
for you,
Well, if
put it out
If
there.
there's one on the internet, we're not gonna be selling any of the master plan books.
Are we counting on that money for something?
Yeah.
Pay for the books.
All right, moving along. Township Board Representative.
Just this codification stuff, which we're going to be doing in old business, you know, we just, that's my only thing.
All right, Zoning Board of Appeals.
We had a meeting, I can't now remember what it was. We've had one of our meetings since. Did I tell you guys about the appeal of the decision of our zoning administrators, what it really was? The zoning administrator approved renovation for a cabin down on, what's the street there?
Washington.
It's still called Lake.
Washington and Lakeport Drive.
Washington Lakeport Drive. And they were appealing that decision, essentially saying he should not have approved that. And the ZBA denied the appeal.
I think that was,
But I may have already reported that.
Alrighty. Zoning Administrator. Anybody gonna speak
He's not
for?
here.
he's not here, I thought he was gonna be here,
Look, I can't think of his name now.
but Rob Cohen.
Bud Cohen, that's right.
Not to rush, but moving along.
New business.
New business.
Before the old business, that's cool.
Approval of 2015 regular meeting schedule for the plan.
I have one question.
No, he didn't say get any questions.
Yeah, I just said we're reviewing. Yes, Al?
Why don't you,
I gotta look, I was gonna try and answer it before we got there, but, the September,
Second?
second,
meeting.
it's not the third.
Shouldn't that be September 1st? Why?
Because we're holding on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
I ain't got my calendar with me.
No.
Whoa, September, Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes.
Yeah, that, in your calendar it is. Anybody else got a calendar with bolts on? Any of the other ones?
I don't know.
September 1st, we're saying?
I didn't realize that was,
I can't believe it.
I didn't realize that, my question was when was Labor Day weekend, you know, was this? That's all I was trying to figure out, and I'm looking, it's like, wait a minute, so.
Okay, so it's September 1st.
Yeah, it should be the first, not the second. By his.
Yeah. And then
Any
the
other
only,
changes anybody sees?
well, the only other one I'm not sure of, isn't there an election in May?
I don't know.
Isn't that when they're doing this tax thing, the 7% tax thing they keep talking about in May?
I believe so,
And would that be May 5th? So that's the date we got, yeah.
Would be a Tuesday.
Well, yeah, that would be the only other thing that would be in question. Yeah, that's May 5th, but
We could change that though.
we can just change it and,
Yeah, we can just change it as it comes up.
that's fine. Or we can meet, well, we can't meet anywhere because we use them
Yeah.
every building for.
If it comes up that they do, we'll do a change of meeting day.
Do we need a motion to accept it?
No.
Yep.
And a motion to accept 2015
With the changes.
with one change, September 1st in lieu of September 2nd.
Second.
Yeah, well, whatever you need.
All right, Alan.
Alan Paul.
Alan Paul, okay. I mean, just wastewater?
Well, this would be pretty.
No other new business then, right?
We need a roll call. I mean,
Oh.
voice vote.
Voice, vote on that.
Yes.
Bob, please.
All in favor? Oh, no, I thought you were just gonna go all.
Oh, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Any opposed?
Mike, you okay with that?
Hearing none? He's checking his calendar.
He's checking them all.
Hearing none, all opposed.
May 9th?
That's what it says.
Okay. Well, then, May 9th?
Hey, what do you got, what day is the first Tuesday in September on your calendar?
Well, there's a bunch of them.
What do you think, he's got a dumb phone instead of a smartphone?
Well, I don't, I'm not very good at operating.
Did you check what year he's under?
Yeah.
Was
May 9th is Saturday.
More people.
On my calendar.
Yeah.
We're in 2015, right?
It says 2000, it says the 10th, it says the 9th, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them, a bunch of elections.
In America?
That's my
Yeah.
cousin.
September what?
It's May 5th we're talking.
September 1st
Oh, it's September 1st.
is the Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Do you know what, when is Labor Day weekend?
What's Mike's last
It
name?
must be the 5th, 6th, and
What's
7th.
Mike's last name?
Klingenbiel.
Oh, it's Klingenbiel.
Mhm.
Labor Day must be the 7th.
We good with that then?
Yeah, we already voted on it, didn't we?
Okay.
Yeah.
Too late.
We voted it and passed it.
Old business. Zoning book of codification. Revision and public hearing.
Did you want one of these?
Can we just skip to the next one?
Closed meeting.
I made a one, the schedule.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Now, do we want to put out a synopsis of where we are? And what are they asking for right now? Right now, the board wants us to.
Here's the way it is. In order for this book to be adopted, the planning commission needs to hold a public hearing to adopt it. The board wants it adopted. At least 4 of them do. I'm not in agreement because I think we should try to fix the stuff which we talked about and have been talking about.
They haven't, go ahead.
And, you know, do the public hearing once we done with it. You know, and if we find other stuff, that's fine. And all the stuff that I'm concerned with is the maps, which Caroline says she's talked to Montgomery getting maps, and I don't know for sure that that's the total cure, hopefully it is. But there's still all that stuff that, yeah, I said, I don't care if we don't look at anything that Bill Besh said, but the stuff that Georgia Johnson said, I think is very,
Yes. I would agree.
very much needs to be fixed. I mean, she's a trained planning person, you know, she's gone through schooling for that stuff, and, you know, if we don't do nothing else, if we fix that and anything else that any of us find or think, but I don't think it'd take that long to fix it, but personally, I really think we need to talk to the people who did it.
Okay, Carol Ann called me tonight before the meeting and that. Basically, the same type of stuff. I asked her, you know, what, if she had done, she talked to the attorney at the publishing place. And,
American Legal Publishing.
yeah, I had the guy's name in that. Anyway,
I don't know.
she gave me his phone number and that to talk with him. But I asked her, I says, well, what did you tell him about, you know, the map, the diagrams and illustrations being on the wrong pages and like that. And she said she didn't mention it to him, that she just kind of forgot about that, and she was just so flustered about the whole thing. He called her just to see how it was going and that. So anyway, he said he'd be more than happy to talk to, you know, one of us here and on the changes that we were talking about and get an idea of what it would cost to fix it and how long it would take and stuff like that. But we had talked before, and this was a letter that I was making up that Paul was having me do. But anyway, this was going to be to the board. Did you see this? I did. I just read it. The Planning Commission is requesting the Township Board to implement the corrections to the codified book as follows. 1, implement the changes as outlined in the document titled Breakdown of Illustrations and Diagrams authored by Georgette Baldwin, dated 2/15/2012, pages 1 through 3. 2, verify all changes and recommendations by Attorney Tuma to the document titled Legal and Editorial Research and Report, Burtchville Township, Michigan American Legal Publishing Corporation, pages 1 through 15. Item 3, have zoning maps made to be placed in the codified book. Currently, no maps are in the codified book. 4, the subdivision standalone ordinance 98-02 became exempt with the acceptance of the zoning ordinance. This is documented in a letter to the Burtchville Township Board of Trustees dated November 23, 2010, from the Burtchville Township Planning Commission. This was recommended by Township Attorney Doug Tuma and the Burtchville Township Zoning Administrator. This can be found in the new codified version in definition 29 titled Condominium Subdivision. Condominium subdivision is their definition. Equivalent to the term of subdivision as used in the zoning ordinance and the Township Subdivision Control Ordinance. If no Township Subdivision Control Ordinance is in effect, the term shall be equivalent to the term subdivision as used in the Subdivision Control Act. Public Act 288 of 1967, MCLA 560, and some other numbers. The Planning Commission believes this will resolve 98% of the mistakes in the codified book, thus making it much easier to complete and correct any remaining errors. If the Township Board would like the Planning Commission to approve the draft submitted by the publishing company before it is published, we will do so. The Planning Commission is requesting a acknowledgeable representative from the publishing company meet with the Planning Commission. This would help us to explain the layout of the book, why the numbering system was changed, and why certain items are in the location they are. For example, Chapter 152, Flood Management, Floodplain Management, should be an administrative, not land use. Chapter 92, Streets and Sidewalks should be in land use, not general regulations. Chapter 150, Building Regulation, should be in administration, not land usage. Chapter 151, Light District, should be in Public Works, and other items as they become known. After completion of the above-mentioned items, we can work towards approving the new codified version and get it into use. The end.
Is that realistic to think that is all gonna happen?
I think so. I think it's realistic to, it's just like Al said, the illustration diagrams need to be corrected and the maps need to be put in there.
Right, but I'm talking about everything that he listed there. I mean, that seems like a
Yeah,
rather
personally, I
large
think it's
task.
realistic.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
would
the
do
thing
it.
is that they changed it and they screwed it up, so they should
They should be the ones
be
responsible, right?
fixed.
Except,
Except they're not gonna do
They
it
didn't
for
know.
free.
Our
Probably
warranty
cost us
period
money.
ran out a long time
Probably
ago.
gonna cost us money
Right.
first.
it is gonna cost money to get it done.
But that's because in the contract, when this was started, in the contract, when they gave us the book, we had 60 days to find any mistakes, which I didn't realize was in the contract. I don't know if anybody else did, but,
Okay,
so, I mean, that basically says,
there was
it's like
like,
what change you're paying for, because
Right.
we didn't, you know,
like when I seen it, there was like 6 days left,
yeah.
you know.
Well, then we only had one
The book was
book.
that thick.
We had one book.
It was a box. It was a box full of papers.
Al, can I ask you a question? And I know this may not be how you feel personally, but you were at the board meeting, you've been at other ones. What's their rationale for wanting to get it recommended before it's fixed?
Probably because it's here, and we've had it for going on 2 years, not well, we've had it for 2 years, I guess. You know,
They think it's fine.
They think it's fine, but,
Do you think it's better to use that one than the old one? Is
Yeah.
that what you're thinking?
yeah, and I think Rod feels the same way, that he can work with the book, you know, and fix it after public hearings. But you know what, you start fixing this stuff after, public hearings are gonna cost money too. You know, my opinion is, you know,
Fix what we know right now.
I don't buy a new car and get used tires.
Okay.
My opinion is I'd rather spend a little more money, you know, and at least know we've covered everything that we found.
Well, you know, so one of the things that could very easily happen at public hearings is these errors that we already know exist come up. the general public says, what about this? Why don't we know about this? Well, then why, the natural question is,
Why would you adopt
why
it?
didn't you fix it?
Yes. And so now you've wasted your money on a public hearing, it's all advertised.
Tell Caroline, that's what I'll do.
Whose job is it to fix it? It's not this board's job, is it, to fix it, or, I mean?
Well, the board wants the planning
The
commission.
planning commission has to have the public hearing to adopt it. The planning commission has to
But as,
adopt it and send it to the township board for final approval. The township board cannot just take up do it. I think they thought they could, but they can't. So, I think that's what it's supposed to do.
well, my problem is the planning commission spent 6 years or whatever,
But we spent.
putting it together, was given to the board did this, and now they want us to basically push through something that we already know is a problem. So I would say if we have known issues, we should get them fixed before we go to public.
Okay, and whose job is it to fix it? I mean, who has to meet with these people and go over this stuff with them?
I think that somebody from the planning commission. I mean, we can have another meeting and, if there's other stuff we found, or I think you've got most of the notes anyhow. So, yeah, I think that, Paul Richards would meet with them, or Todd, or Paul and Todd.
Well, somebody that's
or Bob.
knowledgeable about it, that's
It'd be
for
nice
sure.
if Bob's up
Yeah,
and back in the battle here.
Sure, I can
If
talk.
you're feeling, because, Bob's doing all right anyhow, so.
Can't we take this known issues, and you said you're already talking to the attorney of the one that did it, right? Say, here, this is what you blatantly altered from our version. What are you gonna do about it, or what can you do about it? If you're gonna hold your hands up and do nothing, what would it cost to do it right? I mean,
yes,
we gotta start somewhere, because
This is just
Thought I had the thing, it's not.
this is from when we talked about codification every time when we did it, from, we had it at September 3rd, 2013, talked about it on March 12th, 2013, in depth on that one. In January 8th, 2013, it was on the agenda, we talked about it again. And I was trying to find the part in here,
That was with me.
anyway, we asked the board to make the corrections. We gave them the copies originated from the board. I mean, we didn't, the planning commission didn't get that stuff, the board got that stuff. And why they didn't enact on it, I don't know.
so we've asked the board to do that, and they haven't done that.
Have done nothing, right?
Then-
And they're the ones that requested and paid, like Georgia, to do it. Then they got a report, and then they just sat on it. And
Then
then,
why can't the planning commission just say to the board that we're not going to do a public hearing until the corrections are made?
we can.
We can't. It's a waste of-
And then let them mandate that the planning commission has to,
The
Go
board
through it
was
again.
never given this letter.
Mike Apple.
I never seen it.
But, no, it's not an official letter yet. I was still working on it, and I was talking to Apple at the time, and we were going over something. and-
I mean, that didn't sound bad to me.
No, we need
use
just
the
the
letter,
planning commission-
Except, I don't think you put it in there if the board wants us to approve it, we'll approve it. I'd rather take that out. I personally don't think we should approve it without fixing it. Not
But
that,
there's a part in here,
not without fixing what we know is wrong.
there was a comment, yeah, I heard.
after completion of the above mentioned items, that one?
No.
Last part.
You said basically, if it's their wishes, we will approve it.
If the township board would like the planning commission to approve the draft submitted by the publishing company, the board is published, we will do so. I think that was omitted. The rest of it was.
To approve the draft, I'm talking about the draft, planning commission believes that this will resolve 98% of the mistakes in the codified book.
If the
If the township board would like planning commission to approve the draft.
Submitted by the public.
Yeah, but
Maybe you need-
that isn't, yeah, well.
That isn't what you meant, maybe?
Yeah, that isn't what I meant.
The way it sounded,
gonna say.
the way it sounded to me, and maybe I'm wrong.
Bob softening it here.
No, what I meant was if.
Okay, put it the way you meant it.
Yeah. If
If it's
the
revised.
codified, the publishing company, yeah, if they revised it by what we recommended, if the board wants us to approve their drafts before it goes into effect, we will. That's what I meant. But you're right, it does sound like it.
It sounds like.
Sound like,
You know, if you really want us to approve it, we
Yeah,
will.
we will.
We don't
Just
want
close
to,
the book.
but I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way we operate
Okay.
personally.
Because I'm learning as opposed to.
Because it's just too much,
All right, I can correct this and I can submit it to the board. Two, I can talk with the attorney at that did the codification tomorrow or the next day, whatever. Anyway, talk to him and tell him about the things that were wrong. According to them, they didn't know there was anything wrong, but they didn't know there wasn't any illustrations or the maps
See,
and
and
stuff like that.
and from what little I know, I think that is the board's fault. I mean, whether they knew that there was a time limit or not, they had them do it, they paid them to do it. You know, it shouldn't get thrown back into the planning commission unless they,
personally, they took it, they took the thing and ran with it, and either the secretary or the chairman or the vice chairman should have been working with
Planning commission member.
the person doing it.
right.
You know.
My only
There
question
should have been a
would
planning
be,
commission member involved in it.
Overseeing. my only question would be, does the committee feel that that list is thorough enough, or?
Georgia Johnson's report, which I thought I had him, I think.
I've got it
But that, he says her report. Okay, perfect.
And that covers most of our previous
That-
administrators'
that covers.
concerns?
Well,
It covered all the
Because he
illustrations
used
and
it,
diagrams.
and he brought up some pretty obvious misses, and
our previous administrator?
yes,
Yeah, his,
it covers,
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
it covered everything.
She's very thorough with this.
Oh, yes.
You know, and at least I feel.
See, I don't think
She
that,
was trained, so.
I don't think that a copy of that was even submitted to the,
Probably not, I don't
Publishing
know.
company. you know,
I wasn't a part of it, I wasn't part of the board, but I was not a part of it.
I mean,
What would be the-
if I talk to him, I mean, I can actually,
well, do we
I don't want to throw any
need,
stones here, I just
do
want to see
we
us get it
do-
fixed and get it done.
do we do that, or do we go back to the board and say, at this time, we can't approve it to go to a public hearing until these corrections are made? And then they're gonna tell us to go and have these meetings with the attorney? I mean, we gotta reply to the board, correct, or no? Because they're asking.
Personally, I think Bob can call the attorney now, I think Caroline's given him permission. I
Yeah,
asked a while ago to be able to call somebody and never would let me.
Well, yeah, she
Caroline
said here,
said
it's a
that
mess.
she,
Well,
yeah, she
fix it.
That's
told him
good.
my name and everything.
Then that's perfect, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and go with it,
Yeah.
with
You
her.
know, If you're up,
Oh, we
to
can-
it,
I
if
can-
you're up to it,
yeah, I
you got
can-
time, and I'll be glad to help you with anything I can, so.
All right.
Not this.
Why don't we take it and do that, then, we'll just,
Disclaimer.
we have our meeting in February, then we'll do it from there then. Whatever I find- I mean, anything I find out, I mean, I'll give all the board members a copy of all the stuff.
Yeah, just send us an
So,
email.
have you got the whole copy of George's too?
Yeah.
Good, okay, good. Paul's got his there.
You got George's, I've
So
got,
you're-
Some of the other ones.
yeah, I've got, well, I
Yeah.
still have Besh's, but I also
I don't
have.
think Riley ever did anything.
Yeah, Riley did some,
Did he?
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't much. though.
wasn't much, yeah.
It was like a half a page of a couple things that he
Yeah.
thought needed to be looked at.
But I don't care if you give him anything, Besh's, because I know there's.
No, yeah.
I'd be pretty confident just giving
Just George.
hers,
Yeah.
saying these are the problems we have, because a lot of them are gonna overlap, the
Yeah.
same problem.
Okay, the
Because
problem-
even though they
Most
have,
of those is in
they
Georgia.
have in their contract, you had 60 days. If they do blatant changes, I mean, you submit ABC and they totally change it, I would think they would, if they're any kind of a legitimate company, they would stand by.
Can't be that hard for them to fix it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I
Not in
can't.
the computer world.
No, not in the computer world.
So as it stands, Bob's gonna meet with their attorney, talk to him and.
I'm just gonna talk to him, I'm not gonna meet
Right.
with him better.
Talk to them and see what they will do as far as changes that we need, because we
And what it will
can't
cost.
use what they've given us.
Yeah,
Maybe-
Probably what we need to find out is if they have a copy of this stuff from Georgia. If
Which
not,
they
we need to get it to them.
Right. So they say if we
And
can-
then he
Yeah,
can look
she
at it,
doesn't-
then he can- then he
She
can
doesn't
respond.
show that she copied anybody.
Yeah.
But, one thing I wanted to bring up is Paul Richards, his big thing is this subdivisions,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and I tried to explain to him that, you know, just what this paper says on here, that what a subdivision and condominiums are all falling under basically the same thing.
Well, you
I-
probably need to talk to the
And yeah, I will.
lawyer about that and
Mhm.
see what he says. Yeah, we spent a lot of time doing that subdivision thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Paul saying they've changed it, or they've
He
missed
said,
things?
he's saying that it's not in there, and it's like
Not in
16
there.
pages,
Okay.
and he wants all 16 pages. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have,
Oh, that's Georgia.
I don't know if that's George's or True's, no. Yeah, this is George's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, that's George's.
All
Have you,
purpose.
have you seen it? This is no,
No,
okay, this is from Georgia. She listed
so she,
illustrations and everything through the whole book. And then these are
Probably what you're gonna
things
have.
that were, need corrections.
Probably what you're gonna
I
have.
think it's just the 3 pages. And then there's a,
Frank?
I think there's one here from Tuna.
Probably in all fairness, this publisher guy, probably gonna have to maybe just fax that all to him.
Fax it or copy it and send it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mail, mail.
yeah, however you guys do it.
That's the,
One, but yeah, I
And
think,
then you can, then you'll be able to, maybe he looks at some of that stuff, then he'll be able to
converse
more
more
smart to
intelligently.
talk to you know, and say, oh, yeah, we need to fix that.
Yeah,
or,
these are all the-
"No, it's gonna cost you $10,000 for your $5,000 work."
see, this was reviewed.
That's how we make our money, change orders.
Like, referring to the numbers, if they're right, wrong, saying this isn't necessary.
well, that's his job, he should know.
But, yeah.
If he's gonna
But
defend.
her report was very thorough.
Mm-hmm.
And if you went through that stuff and went through what Bill Besh had, you know, there was a few things in there, I think, that Bill thought that, but then I wasn't sure.
And that's like you or somebody mentioned, it'll be 98% good. We know for sure that we're not getting everything.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Especially, we think George should do the review too, I think.
Yeah.
And then just throw it away.
All right, does everybody know what we're doing with that? We don't need
Okay, I got
any-
one last thing on this thing. Now, this is a letter dated November 23rd, 2010. It's addressed to the Township Board. And it said, no, I forgot her name.
Jordan?
No.
Caroline?
Yeah, no. No, when she was in charge.
Loretta?
Loretta, thank you.
Oh, right.
Jeez, yeah. Anyway, it says, following the recommendation of the Burtchville Township Attorney Doug Tuma and Burtchville Township Zoning Administrator, the Burtchville Township Planning Commission revisited and reviewed all of the standalone ordinances kept in a binder in the Township Clerk's office. The Planning Commission found that the following ordinances became exempt with the acceptance of the zoning ordinance and suggests they be removed from the binder and kept permanently for reference purposes in a file in the clerk's offices. The ordinances are Listen Law and 98-02 subdivision, 98-03 condominiums. So, and that's 2010.
805, Kevin's off.
But anyway, and I did show that to Paul before, but he still don't like it. So. But anyway,
But
okay.
we pulled those ordinances out because when we did the revision,
We
we handled it differently.
They're in there.
Standalone.
But he's saying they're not in here,
Okay.
so.
Which they should be if they're
Yeah,
in
well,
this and they didn't make it to this.
I hope maybe this lawyer can help us.
Well, how hard, it can't be too hard to put that in that book, I mean, it just, I mean, even if they,
Well, I mean, if you submit it to them, that's part of our ordinance and they take it out, I would think.
You'd think they'd be responsible for.
Yeah, you would think. All right, do we need any, there really isn't,
I don't know, if we need to send a letter to the board or anything.
Well,
I think that,
are they waiting, or are
Well-
they expecting it, us setting it up, or?
public hearing?
oh, I'm sure that.
They would like a public
I'm
hearing,
sure
but
that they'd
no.
love a public
Okay.
hearing set up, but I don't think that
They're
they
gonna
talk to this guy and.
Right.
I'm not, don't, you guys wanna do it, it's. I mean, we can.
Well, do we wanna-
do a vote. and-
We want a hand vote?
Yeah, I don't want to do it just because I'm saying.
Yeah,
Does everybody
That's a good
understand
idea.
what we're doing, or what's going on here?
All right, all those in favor,
Well, if you're doing it.
We're doing it,
Make sure it's-
okay.
well, you got your teeth
all those
Who's
in,
making the motion first?
on. You gotta make a motion.
can I make a motion or
Sure.
somebody else? I'm vice chair, I can't. Oh. My motion
Would be.
would be that we take our concerns and changes to codification attorney for his response prior to any public hearing.
Okay.
Does anybody need to add anything to that? There's a couple
And this,
that we need.
and that this be done by the secretary?
Right. Yeah, I better throw that in there.
And this be done by the secretary.
Okay, so basically your motion is to take any changes and concerns that we have to the lawyer of the publishing company and before we do any letter or
Before we pursue a public
public
hearing
hearing.
to adopt the codified copy. I won't feel bad if somebody can state that better.
Pretty good.
What to do.
that's pretty good, but that was probably just beginner's luck.
So you got a.
It's
motion-
this chair.
You got a motion and a second?
Yeah,
I'll
no.
second it.
Okay.
Now, second it? Now you can vote on
I'm
it.
gonna do a roll call vote? or-
Yep.
Roll call vote.
No, just do me last, I don't want to be influenced anybody,
Okay, that's fair.
please.
Well, now you are influenced, you said that.
We don't know how to vote.
Okay, roll call vote. Bailey, yes. Mr. Dupuy?
Yes.
Mr. Mahaffey?
Yes.
Actually, I should start with you, but okay. Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
And Mr. Swartz?
Yes.
Oops. Yeah, Mr. Swartz, yes. Okay, Mr. Smith, I didn't do you yet?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Bryan?
What about you?
I already said yes, I was first.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Yes.
Oh, you bugger. So it's
I
unanimous.
don't know.
So it's
The
unanimous.
board wants this done.
I just think it would be,
Well, it's doable, you know, without,
Why just one question, why do they have us talking to their attorney? Is the attorney the publisher on it or something?
The attorney of the publishing company.
Yeah, but why are we talking to them? It's not like we're.
Why are we instead of like,
Well, why are we talking to an attorney? Why aren't we talking to
their publisher.
whoever?
Project
What's
leader.
He's the
whatever's
publisher.
attorney, okay.
he
Okay,
is
he's an attorney, okay,
of the publishing company?
okay.
Yeah, yeah. He called Carol Ann to see how we get on with the book.
Okay.
See,
Waited too long.
they're nervous, we're gonna sue because they did a terrible job.
Yeah, we don't want to sue, we just want to get fixed.
Okay, so that motion passed unanimously.
If we sue, he just makes more money.
Yeah. That's probably why they don't.
maybe did it this way on purpose.
$600
Well, that's what
an
I was
hour
wondering.
if he called.
Okay, give us the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Nothing if a secretary called.
These hayseeds up in Burtchville.
Any other old business? Seeing none, hearing none?
Rod's been, just, I guess I probably should have done something to tell him before, but I just thought of it, since he's not here. He's issued some different tickets, and there's been some stuff cleaned up, and, there's some more coming up. I know he's working up on Fisher Road.
What's going on then along Lakeshore with the,
Louis?
yes? What's he doing now?
He's cleaned up,
Cleaned up?
yeah. Yeah, he's cleaned up the front, majorly. Seriously, yes.
Really? How would we know?
Yeah.
Well, Rod's happy.
Okay.
And what's he doing on the other side now?
Well, that's not
Well,
him,
that's
that's
not him.
Scott Hayes, right?
No, Scott Hayes is gone.
Well, I mean, but he did the work.
Yeah. but-
They used
What do you mean that's
Paul-
Murphy?
Paul Murphy.
Murphy owns the property.
Murphy owns property where some of Louis' trucks are parked.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of his trucks, some of his trees and stuff are there too.
Oh, I don't, wow.
What do you mean? Come on,
Well-
now he put them big steel containers across to block the back.
That's screening.
Well, Paul burns
Yeah,
Paul
because-
burns wood, so. Well, I mean, there's wood back there, I mean, that's probably why, Louis probably, giving it to him, I don't know.
Okay, the thing
As far
is Louis has, what's he got back there, 5 acres where
Well,
his main building is or something like
I
that?
don't know.
He's got lots of room.
He's got a lot of stuff back there, but he's got rid of a lot of wood.
But yeah,
But I know.
It's not so much the wood,
Rod-
it's all the
Rod-
vehicles.
Rod gave him,
Okay, our ordinance
whatever you
says,
call it.
our ordinance says that you're not allowed to have an unlicensed vehicle sitting out.
and,
He does.
are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
Got one on top of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not.
Those are gone. Those are gone. But last week
Are
or
we
the week
getting any
before,
complaints?
he had complaints,
Yeah,
and
he
Rod
has.
acted on it.
Okay.
And
I
the other
think
thing,
that's
the
how
other
you-
thing the board did is they changed the fine fees. What is it, $500?
500,
1,000,
1,500, 2,000.
Man, I don't understand why, one, either just throw a fence up there, and be done with it all.
That's what the boxes are, is his fence. And he moved them
Yeah.
around to block it off more, back. And that was satisfying the judgment a few years ago. But no,
That was
there's a lot of
satisfying
stuff.
the original agreement that went through court,
Mm-hmm.
and then he
Quit following it.
quit following that.
Yep.
And he asked me the other day if I paid any attention to what he had done, and I said, not really, but I noticed that the trucks that were stacked up were gone. He had moved trailers around. He did as fencing. He did say that he did do a lot of work. And, in trying to do that, what he wants to avoid is cutting any of those trees down in front. Which he would have to do whether he moves the trailers around or whether he puts a fence up there or whatever. And it's gonna open everything up if he has to cut.
Why doesn't he want to keep the vehicles back?
He can't.
Is it low back
It's
there?
low. It's swampland, and that's why he can't get anything back there. He just can't, other than wood, and even the wood, and he's hauled stuff in and tried to build up a road back there. And it won't hold up in the summertime to be able to haul stuff back there. Other than that, I mean, because he's still got lots of place, and I know he sold a lot of wood
Oh, yeah.
from back there. But I think everything that he's got out there is licensed. He was told that the original agreement with Tuma and the court, that he could line those vehicles up like that, they should be lined up like that he's doing today. And he's back doing that today. He's not doing the left, right, slide them in, and who knows? I mean, he is in a civil suit.
And
And
is he
he
keeping
does-
them back off of the county's?
I believe so.
Up the state right
Off the
Yeah,
state
state
right
right
away, yep.
His state right away is that, is to the east there.
He is in a civil suit. He has to answer that by the 21st, I think, of this month.
A civil suit with who?
With the township,
Burtchville.
Burtchville. So, you know, he does have to answer that, and I think he was at his attorney's yesterday, so.
Does he feel the Burtchville was just picking on him, or what?
Yeah.
Is that what he thinks?
Well, if you said, and if he originally took Bill Bash, and I completely agree with this, because I just did it today again. You go out on Fisher, that property's been complained about for 10 years, and nobody's ever done anything about it. You go out not State, but what's the next one? North. And you've got those properties out there. Nobody's ever done anything about them. You know, he drove around, you've got Norman and, you know, the place, the barn that burned down, you've got all of that trash, that's on you know,
I don't understand why they would do
he
something
is
about
the
that
only
anyway.
one that anybody has said anything about. And then when other people did say things about these other properties, absolutely nothing was done about them. So I know Louis enough to know that he'll mess with anybody, he'll wait to the last minute,
Yeah.
he'll end up ignoring it again, you know. Unfortunately, that's just who he is. And I don't think that he does it so much purposely, other than after a 14 or a 15-hour day when you pull your trucks in,
Yeah. He just want to get out of it.
he just wants to go home, you know, and be left alone. But I believe he also said that Tuma came over there with Rod, and they went back over it again. And said, if you move these containers and use them as fences, and line your trucks up the way they're supposed to be lined up, and you may be correct that some of his trucks are over at Todd's, or Todd's?
Paul.
Yeah, on Paul's property.
But I think those are all.
But those
licensed
are
vehicles.
back,
Yeah.
and they're lined up nicely, which they should be over on his property.
Right.
He just can't move anything back. It just can't be done. I've walked back there several times, and that's part of the problem. So he has to use that frontage. You also have to look at legitimately, now that the board has raised the fines, you can actually go to an attorney and say, hey, look, the board's not paying any attention to these other places who have been out here for longer, they have complaints against them, zoning person's not doing anything about it. You've got Blue Water, who has stuff in the front that they're not supposed to, some of it's out and licensed. You've got Len's Pool, he has a fence that's supposed to be covered, according to you know, you're not supposed to be able to see through there, according to the ordinances. So there are, you guys got ordinances that whoever put them in place about trash bins for companies. There's not one of them except for, you know, how many of those there are around?
Mhm.
Well, none of them are enclosed. And that's a recent ordinance. So there are ordinances that are there that just, it's either, are you gonna do them or you're not gonna do them, or you're just gonna pick and choose. And the board has chosen to this point, in the 5 years that I've been here, it appears to me to pick and choose. I mean, I also drove by your board member here, out on Jetto and
Lady?
Beatty. And his property looks just as bad as the one on Fisher. So if you have a board member that's sitting here who is blatantly, and he'd been called on it, he'd been written, and nobody had done anything about it, I'm really sorry. I have to side with Louis. I have to say, if you're gonna clean up the township, clean up the township. If you're not, leave him alone. That's just the way I feel. I don't feel that you should go after one person, and there have not been any complaints that I'm aware of, because I've foiled them all. And I have a 6-month lead way on complaints against his property. There have not been any. So I don't know why this is being pursued.
Is the board, I mean, we're not really, we're answering complaints from the public. we're not actively pursuing.
As far as I know, if there's not a written complaint, it's not actively pursued.
But there have been written complaints.
A written complaint has to be responded.
Well, yes.
I mean,
that's the
I
way it should be.
just spent almost $100 and went back 2 years on the written complaints. There's been no response to hardly any of them, except Louis. So, you know, I've got a stack of papers like this that properties were complained on, no action was taken. Beyond, every once in a while, a letter went out. Some yards were mowed this summer, which I was glad to see, you know, but that's where, that's really his justification for really not caring.
Anyhow, Rod's got a few citations out there now.
Yeah, he does.
He's working, he's here
Yep.
every Monday and
What is, does anyone know what's going on to the piece just south of that, where they filled all the dirt from that ditching project?
You're not supposed to be able to do that. They took and raised, the guy at the Blue Water Woodworking,
I'm waiting for someone to complain about
and
that.
because when they leveled that out now, they raised the elevation of that property, now he might get flooded out.
that's also Paul Murphy's property.
But he rented it out.
He rented it out to Lou?
No, he rented it out to the company that was doing all of the work.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's where, because
but he
Rod
wanted-
wrote him a letter and let him know that he couldn't, he wrote Paul a letter and let him know that he couldn't raise the elevation of that property. Well, I don't think he even had anything to do with raising the elevation. It was the company that came in, they dumped all that stuff, they put pipes through there, they finished their work, they leveled things off and they left. Well, if the elevation now is 2 feet higher than it was originally, who's to blame?
They still fall back on the property owner.
Wow.
Okay, I make a motion.
Kind of high, that property. I wouldn't be happy if my neighbor did that.
It looks a lot higher than what
It is
was.
higher than it was, that's
You
for
know,
sure.
there's-
Well,
With all that new drainage, there will never be a problem.
You're right.
Famous last words.
The drainage will help, but.
Why is there, speaking of, how come when it gets to Lou's place, well, how come they didn't
You know,
ditch it,
I don't know that. and
culvert it,
I haven't had-
something?
I haven't had time to look at the prints.
That makes no sense.
It's a mess back there.
The trucks were in the way, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was going all the way down to,
So did I.
past Whoops, to the drainage.
Maybe that was the low spot.
Well, I think it's the high point.
Okay,
Going
motion
right-
to adjourn.
Motion to, any other comments, just before we?
No, sorry about that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
You second? Okay.
Okay. Next meeting would be February 3rd.